Imagine this. You're scrolling late at night and stumble across a live stream. At first, it looks like any other broadcast. A man sits in front of a camera, reacting to viewers. But the longer you watch, the stranger it feels. The audience isn't cheering him on. They're laughing at him, paying to see how far he'll go, egging him into things that make you uncomfortable. And then comes the chilling part. The stream doesn't end. It runs for days. And one night, while the camera is still rolling, the man disappears forever. That man was Raphaël Graven, better known by his online name Jean Pormanove. And his story has become one of the darkest warnings about the future of live streaming. Because this wasn't just an accident, it was the result of a system, a platform that allowed it to happen, an audience that encouraged it, and an internet that turned one man's breaking point into viral content. Jean wasn't born an internet celebrity. He had once been a soldier, a father, a man carrying health problems and struggles. Like many people searching for purpose, he turned to the internet as a way to matter. But Jean didn't become popular for comedy, talent, or skill. He became known for something else, his willingness to go further than anyone else. On the streaming platform Kick, Jean found a space where the rules were looser than on Twitch or YouTube. Kick marketed itself as the wild alternative, with more freedom, more money, fewer restrictions. That freedom attracted creators who wanted to shock and audiences who wanted to see just how far a streamer would go. Jean realized quickly that attention equals survival. The more extreme his streams, the more viewers tuned in, and the more donations came through. At first, it may have looked harmless. Viewers paid small amounts to make him do little things on camera. Stay awake a bit longer. Eat something strange. Repeat silly challenges. But soon the requests escalated. The hours on camera grew longer, the tasks became more degrading, and Jean leaned into it, because every time he gave in, the chat exploded, the clips spread, and the numbers went up. He had become the star of a new kind of show. Not entertainment, but humiliation as content. If this sounds shocking, remember that Jean wasn't the only one. Across streaming culture, escalation is everywhere. Creators run longer marathons, do riskier stunts, push boundaries to get noticed in a crowded space. But Jean's case was different because his health was already fragile. He had thyroid issues, heart problems, a body that couldn't handle the punishment. And yet, he kept going because the alternative was losing the only thing keeping him relevant. It's easy to say he could have just stopped, but when thousands of people are watching, paying, cheering, and making you feel like your whole identity depends on keeping the show alive, stopping feels impossible. Then came the marathon stream. 298 hours. Almost 2 weeks live. Try to imagine it. Days without real rest. Constant pressure to respond to viewers. An endless cycle of comments, demands, donations. At first, it was a spectacle. Clips of his exhaustion spread online. People joked about how long he could last. The stream became a trending topic, drawing in even more viewers. But as the hours piled up, things got darker. Jean's speech slowed, his body weakened, his health problems made every moment harder, and yet, the chat kept demanding more. Some viewers worried, others thought it was fake. After all, the internet blurs the line between reality and act. Was this just another stunt? And then came the night when the camera captured what no one expected. His body finally gave out. What's most disturbing is how people reacted in real time. Some laughed, some typed comments as if it were part of the show. Others sat in shock, unsure if what they were seeing was real. And when it became clear this wasn't an act, the damage was already done. The stream had recorded everything. Jean Pormanove was gone. You might think this would end the spectacle, but the internet doesn't work like that. Within hours, clips of his final stream spread across Reddit, Twitter, and Discord. People who had cheered his humiliation now dissected his last moments frame by frame. The very thing that destroyed him turned into viral content, shared and reshared by millions who hadn't even heard his name the day before. In death, Jean became more famous than in life. French authorities quickly launched an investigation. They performed an autopsy. The result? No single trauma, no direct violence. Officially, no one laid a hand on him. But that misses the point. Because what really killed him was something harder to measure. Exhaustion, illness, psychological torment, and a system that encouraged him to keep going until his body couldn't anymore. It's difficult to prosecute a crime when the weapon is invisible, when the weapon is attention itself. Gene's story is not just about one man. It's about how the internet now works. Kick presented itself as the free alternative to Twitch. In some ways, that was true. Fewer rules, more creator revenue, more liberty. But freedom without limits quickly becomes exploitation, and what looks like opportunity for creators can easily become a trap. After Gene's death, Kick released statements. They promised bans, stricter rules, investigations. But the truth is, none of that matters to Gene. And none of that changes the fact that his story revealed a dangerous incentive structure built into modern platforms. And then there's the audience. We like to imagine we're just passive spectators, that watching is harmless. But in Gene's case, the audience was part of the machine. They paid him to keep going. They typed commands. They clipped and shared his suffering. Every click, every donation, every share kept the cycle alive. This wasn't passive viewing. This was participation. The French government responded with outrage. Ministers condemned the exploitation. Prosecutors opened a formal investigation. Lawmakers demanded stronger rules. And the story resonated worldwide because it raised uncomfortable questions. When someone collapses live, who is responsible? The platform that hosted it? The viewers who encouraged it? The algorithm that promoted it? Or the system itself, which rewards spectacle over sanity? Humiliation and shame don't just hurt feelings. Science shows they activate the same pain centers in the brain as physical injury. Gene wasn't just mocked, he was dismantled. Piece by piece, his identity was broken down until all that was left was the role the audience created for him, the man people watched to suffer. That became his brand, his trap. He traded dignity for attention. And in the end, that trade destroyed him. If this all feels uncomfortably familiar, it should. History has been here before. Think about the gladiator arenas of ancient Rome. Crowds cheering as people fought to the death. Spectacle became entertainment. Life and death turned into a game. Now, replace the Colosseum with a live stream. Replace swords with webcams. Replace emperors with anonymous usernames. That's what Gene's story represents. The return of the digital arena. And this wasn't an isolated case. Around the world, similar tragedies have happened. In China, gamers have collapsed after days of non-stop streaming. On TikTok and Instagram, influencers have died attempting dangerous stunts. But Gene's case was different because his destruction wasn't an accident. It was systematic, monetized. Encouraged by a major platform, it shows how suffering itself can be turned into an economy. So what now? Platforms need stronger guardrails, real-time moderation, limits on dangerous donations, algorithms that consider harm, not just watch time. Creators need protection from systems that push them to escalate endlessly. And viewers need to recognize their role. Every click, every share, every donation is a vote. And if you're not careful, your vote could be funding someone's destruction. The scariest part is how quickly stories like Gene's fade. For a week, people are horrified, and then the internet moves on. Another trend, another meme, another tragedy. But Jean Pormanov's story should not be forgotten. It's a warning, a reminder that behind every stream is a human being with limits, with pain, with a breaking point. And if we keep treating suffering as entertainment, we will keep seeing deaths unfold in real time, not as tragedies, but as viral moments. The only question is, how many more?